Welcome to the Veterans Growing America podcast. I am Coach R.L. Simmons. I am here with my illustrious co-host, Donnell Johns, and we have a special guest for you today. We have Mrs. Stephanie Brown. She is the founder and CEO of the Rosie Network. She is also the CEO and co-founder of the Military Spouse Chambers of Commerce. Welcome to the show, young lady.
Thank you. And I appreciate that, young lady. I'm in my 60s, but hey, I'm still young at heart.
Oh,
Thank you for having me.
So, Stephanie,
our pleasure.
everybody wants to know what inspired you to start the Rosie Network and later the Military Spouse Chamber of Commerce, but most particularly, what critical thing brought that up and why did you start it?
Well, as you know, I grew up in the military. My father was a Vietnam veteran and served over 20 years active duty, retired in California, opened up a small music store. Like to say that's kind of where I caught the entrepreneurial bug because I would work in his store after school and on the weekends. Looking back on it now, he definitely taught me the most important lessons about owning a business and making an impact in your community, period. But fast forward when that fateful day when I met what would become my husband a year later, and I found myself like my mom as a military spouse, I went from being a business owner in Washington, D.C. to being unemployed and unemployable. We got stationed overseas. I tried to get a job. Nobody would hire me. And I even tried to revive one of my business. I had one client in San Juan, so that was quite a drive to get to them, but I kind of finally just gave up and I realized that I wasn't the only one. The military spouses, this was a very common story, that mine was not unique. And years later, when Tom was out here as the Commodore of Naval Special Warfare Group 1, I kind of got fed up and I had this idea. I thought, I know I'm not the only military spouse. Military spouses have the highest unemployment rate of any category in this country by far. So what can I do? Well, I'm not going to train people on how to get a job, how to do a resume, how to get a job. That's definitely not my expertise. But as someone who has launched and grown and then sold businesses throughout my adult, I thought, well, this is something I'm passionate about, something I know a little bit about. So let me see if there's an interest in helping our transitioning service members, veterans, and of course, military spouses on how to launch and grow a business. I like to say, and Donnell, I know you'll agree with me, that really, if you want to be a successful business owner, one of the things you have to do is surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. And that is the first thing I did, right? I surrounded myself with folks that were smarter and more capable than I was, convinced them that our military community deserved the absolute best that we had to offer. And what would that look like? It all began with Rosie's List, but it morphed into the Rosie Network and our national award-winning Service to CEO program, which is now college accredited. It's online and it is free. So we have 9 modules now, and you get into a very small cohort. We keep them small intentionally. We have cohorts that go on throughout the year. But it was really something I was passionate about. And I wanted to certainly impact the military spouse unemployment rate by helping spouses become self-employed. Like, be your own boss, right? Create your own path. And here we are 13 years later, a network of over 30,000 business owners all around the globe. They're all owned and operated by veterans or military spouses and even military kids. We have a military kidpreneur program, which is a couple of years old, but one of my most favorite things that we do, because they are way smarter than probably all of us put together. They're so plugged in. But it was really finding that niche, finding that need, and recognizing that there was this gap, right? There was this gap in training in small cohorts and not just going to an event for 2 to 3 days and networking and then going home and saying, okay, what now? What do I do now? So we do a lot more than service to CEO, but that's kind of where it all began. And you got to do what you love and hopefully serve the community that you love. And I've been blessed.
No, that's amazing. And so let's talk a little bit about military spouses and veterans. Now, they face a lot of challenges when they're beginning to launch and try to grow their business. What are some of them challenges that you see? And then, like, what's the best way to overcome those challenges?
Well, in all the years and the literally tens of thousands that we've helped, as well as surveyed, talked to, met with, mentored, etc., I call it the 3 M's. The most common challenges that we face: money, marketing, and mentorship. So 90% of startups without a mentor fail within the first 3 years. So having a mentor or mentors is critical, and that is actually built into Service to CEO. You sign a contract that you know what to expect, what we're going to provide, and we're letting you know what we expect of you. And one of those is a minimum number of one-on-one hour-long sessions with a mentor. You get to choose from our network. So that's mentoring. Again, mentoring doesn't have to be a formal mentor, just surrounding yourself with people that understand what you want to do and are passionate about helping you and are certainly not going to just tell you what you want to hear, right? Money is obviously one of the top challenges that small business owners, period, face. Certainly women, small business owners face it. We get the vast minority of any kind of VC investments into women-owned businesses. And that it's one of the things that I had the honor of testifying before the Small Business and Veterans Affairs Committees before Congress last year. So we dive into that. What's good money? What's bad money? How to be prepared if you're going to go after traditional funding, if you're bootstrapping it, all kinds of things. And then, of course, marketing, right? We teach you how to evaluate who your customer is, what your niche is in the market, and then they go after that low-hanging fruit. Where are your customers? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on LinkedIn? So we really try to, in addition to all the other things, legal help, HR help, etc., those, in my experience, for all these years, are the three primary challenges that small business owners face.
I love that, Stephanie. I never really thought about the three M's before. I love that. Money,
And to
marketing, and
trademark
mentorship.
it.
Yeah, you should. That M3 right there is not only a BMW,
That's right. That's right.
but you talk about, and I see within the Rosie Network, the power of community. And that's one of the things that we miss when we serve. How does the
Yeah.
power of community assist in the success of entrepreneurs, especially military connected entrepreneurs?
That's such a great question. It's such an incredibly important point. I watched it firsthand when my late husband got out of the Navy after 30 years of active duty service. It was suddenly watching this incredibly capable, super smart person that just kind of struggled and floundered. Like, what do I do now? This is all I've known as an adult, right? Serving in the Navy. So we see that a lot. And we also see it on the military spouse side too, because when the service member struggles, the spouse struggles, vice versa. It is really about trust. Right? It's about trust. So we work really hard to build that trust and to foster trust within those cohorts. So we're the Rosie Network for a reason, right? Everybody needs a network, especially business owners. And one of the things that we have found, I didn't expect this, but we do surveys when they are in the program. We do surveys after they get out of the program. And I didn't expect, but hands down, the most important thing that those that went through our program and then entered into our national alumni after graduating was that sense of community, right? They shared with us that the most impactful thing that being a part of our program provided them was that sense of community. They got to work with and know other veterans, other spouses, shared experiences in the service, right? But then also being a business owner and the collaboration that we witnessed, you know what I'm talking about, Donnell, right? You'll have a veteran that was developing a product that he wants to sell to the DoD, excuse the background noise. And then you'll have a military spouse in the same cohort or in the alumni program, and her expertise is marketing. So they end up collaborating and helping each other out, right? She helps him develop this branding and website and messaging, and it's just the most powerful thing that we do. I can't stress it enough. You lose that sense of brotherhood, sisterhood when you get out. We help bring that back. I also say that we give back that sense of purpose. So when you're serving, you have a purpose, you have a mission, you have a community, brotherhood, sisterhood. When you get out, you lose that. So everybody has to have a sense of purpose in life, right? You got to have a sense of purpose. It can be more than one, but really you got to have a sense of purpose. And we hear that they feel like they've lost that. So by being a part of our network and these cohorts and alumni, we're giving them back that sense of purpose.
Absolutely.
And don't go it alone.
firsthand.
Oh my gosh. I mean, do it together. There's an old African proverb, probably your audience has heard it, but if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And we're really in it with them for the long haul, right? We have to do it together. Or as
Definitely.
we
That was
say in the
actually a really
Navy, rising tide lifts all ships.
yeah, yeah. Now, see, we now you helped me segue right into my question. So, as we giving out gems, and I love when our guests come on here and give out gems, let's talk about advice for a military spouse or veteran who is going to start a business. What is one piece of advice that you would give to them?
Well, I would say that, not to sound like I'm repeating myself, but whatever you do, do not do it alone. You don't have to go through our program. You don't have to join Veterans Growing America, although you should, right? They're free and they're incredibly successful, and it's truly unique and amazing. And I would encourage you to do it, but don't go it alone, right? I refer to mentorship and the success rate versus failure if you don't have a mentor. So if you have a for-profit business, for example, you have to have a board. Now, if you have an LLC or a C Corp, when you register with your state, you have to identify a board of directors, right? So pick a board of directors that brings skills that you don't have that you're going to need. Think of a bus, you have empty seats on a bus, fill those seats with people that bring skills that you don't. You may be the expert on your widget or your service, but maybe you're not a lawyer, right? So you don't have legal expertise. You want to grow your team and hire people or bring in independent contractors. You need to know the law when it comes to your state. I'm in California. Trust me, that's a very sticky topic here. So you got to know the law. So those are marketing. You may not be a marketing expert, right? You don't know how to build a website. So I've just given you 3 to 4 ideas of people to connect with, to invite to be part of your team on your board. You don't typically pay your board. At least you don't if you're a nonprofit, but in most cases, even for profits, you don't pay your board. But you want to make sure that there are people that bring a skill and are going to be honest with you and not, like I said, not just tell you what you want to hear. So don't go it alone. And then everybody needs a cheering squad, right? You do want those people around you that are going to, when you're down or when you've come up against a wall and you just want to throw in the towel, you've got people that you can turn to, like Donnell, who'll tell you, don't quit, don't give up, you can do it. Here, let me introduce you to somebody, or why don't you come to this event and meet some people? If you listen to nothing else, listen to that. Don't do it alone. There are people out there who want to see you succeed, who are willing to help, and all you have to do is make yourself available.
I love that. I love that. And so we're going to stay along that vein. Habits, right? Successful entrepreneurs have habits that they consistently do. What are some of those habits that you know of that successful entrepreneurs do daily, weekly, monthly, you name it?
Well, I call it creating your BHAG. So BHAG stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal, right? And you're not going to make it to your BHAG you're not going to realize your BHAG in 24 hours, 3 days, 3 months, maybe not even 3 years. But you want to identify, keeps you focused on what is your end goal, right? What do you want to accomplish? Okay. And that may change. So that's one thing about being a business owner is you have to be willing to, as we call it, fire and adjust. You have to be agile, but create that BHAG, put it on your wall, whatever it takes to motivate you. And then you create small goals for each, let's say, month or week, whatever. It's up to you. Create those small goals, set that calendar, right? You create those. So get 3 social media posts out or 1 podcast or whatever it is this week, right? Whatever those goals are, and hold yourself accountable. Or better yet, let your mentor get somebody else to help hold you accountable. That's one of the things that we do in Service to CEO. Our leads are literally your accountability partner. Hey, Donnell, we're missing that page on your pitch deck. You need some time. You need some help. We hold you accountable. Set those goals. And if you fail, don't beat yourself up. Go, hey, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'll do better. And celebrate those wins. If you just have your goal, your BHAG, and you don't celebrate those wins, or you don't create a plan, that roadmap, right? How are you going to get there? What does that look like? And you don't put it down on paper and you don't track yourself, then the likelihood that you're going to squirrel, as I call it, if you have kids, that squirreling moment where you're focused on that and then suddenly something else comes up and you're over here and then you're over there and you're over there. And the next thing you know, you haven't made any progress toward that BHAG. And the BHAG is the end goal, which everybody exits their business, whether intentionally or not. right? So you also have to plan for that. I hit that BHAG. What's after that? How am I gonna sell this business? Are my kids gonna run it? Always have that exit plan strategy in place.
Hey, so it's been a number of years you've been doing this. You've helped thousands of veterans and spouses. Tell me, what is your maybe most memorable success story that you've
Oh,
had?
that's hard because there are a lot. I'll say one thing for sure, and then I guess I'll share a success story. But when it at night sitting, and that's when I usually try to do my emails because everybody's in bed and the house is quiet, right? Even the dog is quiet usually. I'll sit there and do my emails, but I'm tired, I'm exhausted, and even I'm stressed out because I have to bring in enough money to make payroll. I mean, it's all that kind of stuff, life. And then I'll get an email from somebody who will tell me, I am going through your program. I just want to tell you that this has saved my life. And you think suddenly this whole feeling washes over you and you go, wow, here I am, tired, frustrated, stressed out. And here's this person who's taken the time to reach out and share this personal, how just being a part of this group, this network, has literally profoundly impacted their life. That doesn't happen every time. I'm not saying it. But when that happens for me, it just puts jet fuel in my gas tank. It just motivates me. I'll share really quickly in the very early days of the Rosie Network, we're still kind of figuring it out. Tom was the Commodore, and we got a tour of some military housing here in San Diego. As we were coming out of the building, we noticed there was this big long line on the sidewalk, and I turned to the housing manager. This is military housing off base, right? And I turned to her and I said, "Oh, what's going on? Are you guys having a party?" And she said, "No, it's the line for the free bread truck." And I was like, "What?" Right? We have 1 in 5 active duty military families in San Diego qualify for food stamps. So let me just put that out there. Tom and I mean, we were floored, and it was kind of like a gut punch. But I walked up and met a young military spouse with 2 kids and introduced myself and got to know her and others. But she had started a business, enlisted family. I think her husband was on his 3rd deployment or something. And as I said, 2 small kids. So she didn't even have couldn't afford a laptop. They could not afford a computer. So she was running her business on base at the library, right? Using the computer at the library while her kids were in childcare. And I remember thinking, dang, that's motivation, right? And again, this is one of those stories that was just profoundly impactful on me. Like, wow, this is exactly why Rosie exists. This is who we have to help. So Tom and I left, and I got her contact information, and I said, we got to do better than this, Tom. We just got to do better than this. And we reached out and we got a donor to give her not just a computer, but a printer. I mean, set her up. And then we began mentoring her. And funny, years later, I was speaking at the University of North Carolina at an event, right, in this room filled with women veterans, military spouses. And lo and behold, she was there, came up to me and said, "You changed my life." They were in North Carolina. And she said, "My business is still thriving. I now employ 5 other military spouses with remote jobs all across the country, and I make more than my husband does."
Wow.
Years later, I found out that she actually opened up a brick and mortar store. So that
Wow.
was, and then we got another military spouse featured actually like 5 or 6 in Women's Day magazine years ago, many years ago. And I was speaking at a USO event, and some young spouse in the back held up the issue of Women's Day magazine and asked me if I would sign it. That was pretty funny. But just that article alone, I think they have 21 million readers, or they did back then, per month. And her little business, her little side hustle at home, was one of the ones that got featured. And she said in that year, she told me what she made in that first year alone after that article and how it was a game changer. So
That's
just little
amazing.
things like that. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I'm probably forgetting half of what happened or getting this when you get old, but it was really just things like that, knowing that you're touching people, you're helping them. And when we have military families, especially enlisted families that are living at or below the poverty level in this country, and you don't hear, they're not complaining. They're out there trying to do what they got to do. And we're just here to help.
Hey, Stephanie, not old, seasoned, seasoned. We use that word around here, seasoned.
Okay, thank you.
Old with
Seasoned.
seasoned.
Yes.
Stephanie, first of all, I just want to publicly thank you for all of the support that you have given to Veterans Growing America. Our trajectory happened partnering with you and the Rosie Network. We've been all throughout the United States,
Yes.
the DMV, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, Florida with the Rosie Network. And then Veterans Growing America also ended up on a NASCAR because of the Rosie Network. I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done for our military connected community and most importantly, Veterans Growing America. Y'all hold a special place in my heart anytime. In fact, the first the article that we've ever had came from the Military Entrepreneurial Magazine. In fact, I actually have it. I wish I had it here, but it's in one of my stores that sits up on the wall. And then also, you can't see it, but this, y'all can't
Yeah,
see it, but we won the 20
that is a,
Business Champion
yeah,
of the Year. It can't be seen, but I'm
that's
sorry.
right.
So
That's quite all right. That was made, those are wooden paddles. They're big in the Navy. Yep, there you go. Wow. That was made, and it has a trident on the top. That was made custom for us by a retired Navy SEAL in Virginia Beach who has his own business. So I remember when we started, we launched the very first Veteran and Military Spouse Entrepreneur Awards. I thought we're not going to do some cheesy plastic trophy or plaque. I mean, literally, I have boxes and boxes of plaques from Tom's 30-year Navy career, right? I said, we are going to do something really unique and special. And I love it. I love the paddle. And it was thrilled. By the way, we do not choose who wins those awards. We bring in judges from like USAA, Wells Fargo, our corporate sponsors. They choose. So I'm putting that out there to your audience, but I'm a huge fan. I remember the first time we met, Donnell, you shared your vision, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have some ideas. Let's get together. And the next thing, we're doing things across the country. And the people showed up and participated in those events. It was clear to me that they thought the world of you. You are changing lives. So God bless you. And I salute you, my friend.
likewise, likewise. Can you tell the listeners how to get involved in the Rosie Network?
Yeah, that's easy. So we have a website. It's called The Rosie Network. And if you're thinking to yourself, who is Rosie? It is Rosie the Riveter. And if you don't know who that is, Google it. Rosie the Riveter is that very famous World War II icon, the We Can Do It icon, Rosie the Riveter. So the rosienetwork.org, and you can also go to the Military Spouse Chamber. It's milspousechamber.org. And if you're a military spouse and you want to be part of a community too, then go to the milspousechamber.org. Membership is free. We offer the only industry standards military spouse-owned enterprise certification. Period. And guess what? It is also free. Companies that accept our certification include Disney, Johnson & Johnson, AT, USAA, and I know I'm forgetting others, but you can go on our website, get your business certified, put it on the window of your business, put your certification on your website, let everybody know, shout it from the mountaintops, you're a military spouse business owner. The Army and the Air Force are both tracking their spend with military spouse-owned businesses to Congress. So lots more work to do to support our military spouses. We've got things on the table that we're working on that I am super excited about, and hopefully they'll happen in 2026. And it's going to be an absolute game changer for our military spouse business owners out there.
You're a rock star.
Thanks. Maybe
Hey,
I feel like I have a rocks in my head at times, but I'll take it.
before we get out of here, do you have any closing words for the listeners?
Yeah, I want to say that, of course, we have our holiday buying guide that I think the deadline is sometime in September. The Rosie Network will be posting on our social media and our website if you want to submit your business for consideration to be featured. It's in partnership with Military Families Magazine. The distribution is literally like just under 350,000. So if you want to get featured in the holiday buying guide, reach out to us, let us know, follow us on social media. We're LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and I don't know where else, and we're also, one of the things that we're really working on this year, and I promise I'll keep it quick, is how can we build out discounts and resources for our member businesses, right? So that includes Intuit QuickBooks. So we have a special deal with Intuit and QuickBooks Xero software. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, Xero. Check them out. They're offers similar to, but Intuit and QuickBooks, HubSpot for startups. Right. And the StreamYard, and the most recent, which I'm really excited about, is Patriot Care. It is literally healthcare plans for not just veterans and their families, but your employees. It's an incredible opportunity. So go on our website, therosienetwork.org, and on the page of resources, they're all listed there with links. You have to go to our website, click on that link, because some of them, like StreamYard, et cetera, they want to know where it's coming from. So yeah, just
I love
continuing
that.
to grow. Don't do it
I
alone.
love it.
Find Veterans Growing America or Rosie or the Millspouse Chamber. Don't do it alone. Just do it. Don't wait.
That's it.
Quit procrastinating and do it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Donnell, how can our listeners continue to support Veterans Growing America?
It's easy, baby. All y'all got to do is shop. No,
Yeah,
this is
baby.
what, this is what you need to do. So first and foremost, like Stephanie said, go to our website, veteransgrowingamerica.com, and figure out how you can get involved. You can get on the shelves at Veterans Growing America at both of our stores. You can participate at our events, either online or in person. We also do a cohort once a year, and that cohort is all about getting you together. In fact, here's something cool, and I want to just share this. From our cohort, one of our members created a book, and he created this book called Business Boot Camp. And he was looking at the E-Myth Revisited, which is the book we use for our cohort, and created the Business Boot Camp, which is a field manual for entrepreneurs. And this field manual will help you start your business. It has AI prompts and all kind of good stuff. And so now we're going to use this book as a cohort to help other entrepreneurs start their business. So go to veteransgrowingamerica.com and be a part of our community in any way that you see fit, where we help businesses execute their dreams.
I love it. I love it. Connect with me offline. I'd love to maybe talk about how we can get that book in service to CEO.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I love it. And Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us and giving, I feel like, an endless amount of knowledge. Truly appreciate you sharing with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And with that being said, we are over and out.